Hello students, welcome back to our COA class. In the previous classes we have discussed regarding the Commonwealth system and what are the different types of register instruction formats are there. Those things we have covered in our previous classes. Okay, and in today's class we will be going to continue with the respect of Commonwealth system only. Okay, let us start with our control unit. From the basics of your school days, you have came across the control unit in your system. Now we will be going to see that what is control unit and internal hardware structure of your control unit we will be going to see. So what actually you mean by a control unit? A control unit of a processor translates from machine instructions to the control signals from the for the micro operations that implement them. So what is actually meant by control unit? It is control unit is nothing but which translates the machine instructions. Whatever the instructions we are going to give, those instructions will be converted into the control signals for perform the particular operations. So that is nothing but that is the main functionality of your control unit. When we go with a control unit, the control unit can be implemented in two ways. One is nothing but your hardware control unit and the second one is nothing but your micro programmed control unit. What is hardware control unit? Hardware control unit is nothing but where the control unit will be going is made up of sequential and combinational circuits to generate the control signals. So it is nothing but your control unit hardware control unit is nothing but your in this internal structure is completely made up of hardware circuitry, where hardware circuitry will be going to have sequential and combinational circuits. That is nothing but to perform the addition I will require an adder circuit. To perform the subtraction I will be using a subtractor circuit. Okay, and if I am going to perform the addition multiplication I will be using a sequence of adder circuit. To perform the division I will be using a sequence of subtractor circuit. Okay, for the complementation I'll be using some different type of complementary circuit. So those are nothing but nothing but your control unit where the control signals will be developed by using an hardware circuitries. So that is known as an hardwired control unit. Next is nothing but your micro programmed control unit. What do you mean by microprogrammed control unit? As the name specifies over here, microprogrammed is nothing but all the functions which you are going to give, that is nothing but it will be generated by using a programming. Like for example, if I want to perform the addition, I will be using an addition instruction to perform the addition part. If I want to do the subtraction, I'll be using subtraction instructions. So everything will be done in the software part. We'll not be going to get into the hardware part. So we'll be writing a small functions where for addition one small functions, for subtraction one small function. Okay, we will be using those functions and we will be performing our operations. That is nothing but your micro program control unit. Control that is in this microprogram control unit, a control memory for the control unit will be going to have a control memory on the processor which contains these microprograms that activates the necessary control signals, that will activate the necessary control signals. So first we will be going to discuss the control unit, which is nothing but a hardwired control unit, and the later on we will be coming across the microprogrammed control unit. So out of these two, microprogram control unit is very important for your final exams. Damn sure you'll be going to get one question from the microprogram control unit. Okay, let us start with our basic control unit for your basic computer, where how you are going to implement hardware implementation we'll be going to see now. So coming to our first thing is nothing but a timing and control unit. So in the control unit of a basic computer will be required a timing and control unit first. Okay, in this timing and control unit block, if you are going to see, this is the block diagram of your timing and control unit. So as we have seen in our previous class, that is nothing but an instruction register. An instruction register is nothing but it is consists of total 16 bits. Out of those 16 bits, 12 bits are used for your addressing, and the next 3 bits are nothing but it is used to give you the information that which instruction it is been performing, whether it is doing the complement form, whether it is comparing, whether it is doing some other thing. Okay, that thing will be going to done, you will be going to do it by using the next 3 bits, that is nothing but 12, 13 and 14th bit. And you know that 15th bit is nothing but which he gives you the information that whether it is a memory reference instruction or register reference instruction or it is on IO instructions. So what happens, if you are going to see here, 12 bits of address directly it is given to the combinational logic control circuit. Okay, in this combination logic control circuit, you will be having all the combinational circuits, adder circuits, subtractor circuits. You will be going to have the counter, that is something what all the combinational circuits. You will not be going to have the sequential circuits. You will be going to have only the combinational circuits. Okay. Now, if you're going to see, I'm using here 3 by 8 decoder. What is this 3 by 8 decoder will be going to do? I will be taking 3 bits from my instruction register. These 3 bits will be going to get total 8 combinations. So, each and every combination will be going to have its own functionality, as we have seen in our previous class. The same thing is nothing but that will be decoded by using your 3 by 8 decoder. So, 3 bits will be given to that decoder circuit. You'll be going to get total 8 bits. Out of those 8 bits, only 1 bit will be activated. So based upon that one, which data line from D0 to D7, which data line is activated, based on that one, your combinational control logic circuit will be going to perform the operation. If you see here, in the previous class, we have seen that there is an opcode 12 to 14 bits. 12, 13, 14 bits. These three combination you will be going to get a memory reference instructions from 000 to 110. And later on, if these 3 bits are 111, that is the opcode is 111, then you will be going to do the perform the register reference instructions and IO input or output instructions, and that will be based upon my I value. If I is equal to 0, it is a register reference instruction. If I is equal to 1, then it is a IO instruction. Okay, now this based upon this opcode, if you see here, based upon these 3 bits of opcode, you will be going to get in the different instructions, that is known as a AND operation, add operation, load, store, okay, branch, unconditional branch, branches and save return address, increment and skip. So these are nothing but different operations, combinational operations which you are going to perform. Okay, that can be done by using this combinational or control logic circuit. Now based upon the D0 to D7 value, that particular operation will be selected and will be performed for the address value. If you see here in the instruction register, there are 12 bits of address value is there. Those 12 bits of address value, based on those 12 bits of address value, it will get the data, it performs the operation and gives the control signals. And gives the output control signal that yes, it is going to perform the AND operation, or it is going to perform the add operation or load operation, complement operation. So that will be done by using your, that you will be going to get the output as a control signals. Now at the same time I should keep it in mind that the 16th bit, that is something what a MSB bit of your instruction register, which comes with your I value. Okay, if whether this I value is equal to 0 or 1. If it is equal to 0, then it is a register reference instruction. If it is equal to 1, then it is an IO instruction. That should also be specified to the processor. Okay, so that can be generated by using a combination logic control signal. Okay, now for to perform all these operations, we will not be doing at the same instant of time. Okay, your computer doesn't have that much of things to be done in a single second. So what you'll be doing here is nothing but for each and every you'll be going to give a clock pulse. Okay, each clock pulse it is going to perform only some task. Okay, in the next clock pulse it is going to perform another task. In the next clock pulse it is going to perform one more task. So it will be to perform a particular operation, it will take 2 clock pulses, or it will take 4 clock pulses, it will take 6 clock pulses, based upon the instruction which you are going to give. Okay, so each clock pulse we will be going to say it as a states, that is known as a timing states. So one clock pulse we'll say it as a timing state, second clock pulse we'll say that as a one more timing state. So we will be going to indicate it by as a T0, T1, T2, T3, so on. Okay, that is timing state 1, timing state 0, timing state 1, timing state 2, timing state 3, so on. So totally we will be going to have 16 timing states, that is 16 clock pulses maximum it will take to perform any given operation. Okay, so maximum they have taken as in 16 time states. Okay, now to decode that each and every clock pulse we will be going to use a decoder over here, and that to decoder is nothing but your 4x16 decoder. For this 4x16 decoder input you are going to get it from the sequence counter. It is a 4-bit sequence counter which will be going to count the values from 0 to so on. Now it will be going to count till 4 bits, that is nothing but your 4 ones, that is nothing but your 0 to 16 to 15 it is going to count. And the operation it is going to specify is here is nothing but increment or clear the counter operation. We need to perform it on the sequence counter. So based upon my sequence counter output, the decoder will be going to decode it, and it will be going to generate the state as T0, T1, T2 till T15. So this is a basic timing and control block. Now the same thing I'll be going to explain by using my timing states, T states. Now let us see that the sequence counter can be incremented or clear. Okay, let us take an example that here if you are seeing here in the example T0, T1, T2, T3 and T4, total we are taken as 5 states. Okay, after 5 states again it is jumped to the T0, T1, T2. Okay, so why it is jumping like that is nothing but for a particular instruction I require only 5 timing states. So later on after 5 timing states what I need to do, I need to reset my sequence counter, that is nothing but I need to clear my sequence counter to 0. Once I have cleared my sequence counter to 0, what is the next functionality of my sequence counter? It should be automatically, should be incremented by 1 for each and every clock pulse. Okay, that is nothing but your that is the how those things will be executed by using the timing diagram we are going to explain it here. Okay, now what we will be doing here, if the decoder output D3 is active, that is nothing but here in this decoder output 3/8 decoder output, the output is D3. If D3 has been activated, so what you are going to do here is nothing but you are going to clear the sequence counter. You are going to clear your sequence counter. So when D3 is activated, you are going to clear the sequence counter, and the D3 will be activated at what timing state? T4 state. At T4 state, when T4 state, at T4 state, your D3 will be activated and your sequence counter will be set to 0. Okay, now if you are seeing these timing diagrams, if you see here, there are different clock pulses are there. First clock pulse T0 timing state, second clock pulse T1 timing state, third clock pulse T2 timing state, next clock pulse is T3, next clock pulse is T4 timing state. Later on it should be coming to the initial timing state, that is nothing but your T0. Okay, now let us see here what happens in the first clock pulse. In the first clock pulse, your T0 timing state T0 is there, so your T0 will be under activate condition, whereas T1, T2, T3, T4 will be under low condition which are not activated. Okay, at the same time my D3 is also not activated. If my D3 is activated, then I need to clear my counter value. Okay, and the counter value should be cleared to 0, and then it should be starting with my next T states. Okay, so keeping that point of view, we need to check my D3 value whether it is 1 or 0. It will be 0. According to this operation, it will be 0 only. Now if you are going to see here, this is my next, the last one is nothing but your sequence counter timing diagram. If you see here, this sequence counter is nothing but it has been clear the sequence counter. I am not going to clear my sequence counter, so it is under low state only. If this particular input is been changed to 1, then your sequence counter value will be set to 0. Okay, so these things happens in the first T clock pulse. In the second clock pulse, what I need to do, in the second clock pulse, the T0 state should be under 0 condition and T1 state will be under 1, whereas T2, 3, 4 should be under 0 and your D3 should be compulsory 0 only, and your counter value will be incremented, it should not be cleared. So your clear signal should be low only. Okay, so on the same thing happens for your T2 state. In the T2 state only should be high and rest or T0, T1, T3 and T4 should be under low condition, as well as your D3 also should be low, and your counter should be clear, that should also be under low state. Why? Because I'm not going to clear my counter. Same thing happens at T3 also. Same thing. Now let us go with the T4 concept. Okay, in the T3 state, what happens is nothing but your D3 has been activated. Since it has been activated, D3 has been activated at T3, I am going to take the action at T4. Okay, at the timing pulse T4, my T0, T1, T2, T3 will be under low condition, whereas T4 is in the activate condition. T4 is high and D3 is also high. So if both are high, what I need to do? The sequence counter, I need to make it as a 0. I need to clear my sequence counter to 0. So what I will be doing, this clear sequence counter, I am pushing it to high. When I am pushing it to high, what happens? The counter value will be decremented to 0. So in the next state, what happens? I will be getting not T5 state, I will be getting as a T0 state. If you are going to see here, I will be getting as T0 state. So this is for one basic operation, how we are going to draw this timing diagram. Okay. Next comes to your instruction cycle. When we go with our instruction cycle, basically our instruction cycle consists of 3 parts. First one is fetching of an instruction. Second is nothing but your decoding of an instruction. And the third one is nothing but your execution of an instruction. So what do you mean by fetching of an instruction? Fetching of an instruction is nothing but your reading an instruction from the memory. I need to get the instruction from the memory. Then only I will be performing the operation, right? So first we will be going to read the instruction from the memory. Once we have been taking the instruction from the memory, I need to decode it. It is in the normal general English language, simple words of English. That simple words of English should be converted into the machine language, that is ones and zeros. That is nothing but I need to decode it, what it needs to perform. That decoding should be done. So you decode the instruction and calculate the effective address. Read the effective address from the memory if the instruction has an indirect addressing. So everything that will be done at the decoding cycle. And the last one is nothing but your execution cycle. Execution cycle is nothing but it will be going to execute the instruction. Whatever the decoded value will be there, based on the decoded value, what type of execution it needs to perform, that type of execution it is going to perform. After an instruction is executed, the cycle starts again at step number 1. That is nothing but your once the execution of an instruction is finished, next what I need to do, I need to fetch my next instruction. So I'll be going to read my next instruction, fetch the instruction from the memory, then we will be going to decode it, then we will be going to execute the same instruction. So this will be repeated for each and every instructions. Once the instruction cycle is completed, then it goes to the next instruction. Every different processor has its own instruction cycle. Every processor will be going to have its own instruction cycle. Okay, but basically we do have three instruction cycles: fetching, decoding, and in execution unit a cycle. Let us come with our fetch and decoding part. How we are going to fetch it and how we are going to perform the decode of my instruction. Let us see. If you are going to see in this box, at t0 time state, what I need to do, I am going to fetch my instruction. To fetch the instruction, first I am going to load the program counter to an address register. Okay, what does your program pointer going to hold? It holds the address of your next instructions to be fetched. Okay, that value will be loaded with your value of your program counter will be loaded into the address register. Okay, once that is been loaded, what in the T1 state, what I'll be going to do, based on that address, I'll go to the memory, and the data which is available on the memory, that will be moved into the instruction register, which is nothing but your IR register. Once that data is been moved into the IR register, at the same time I am going to increment my program counter value. Why? Because I need to fetch my next instruction also in the next cycle. So what I'll be doing, I'll be going to increase my program counter value. Okay, once that is been done, I'll be going to get it into the T2 state. In the T2 state, what I'll be doing, I'll be first decoding the 3 bits, that is nothing but your 12, 13, 14. Those 3 bits will be given to the decoder circuit, which will be decoding, and it will be generating the any one of the line will be activated from D0 to D7. And at the same time, the instruction register 12 bits will be given to the address register to get the data from the for that particular instruction to be executed. Okay, now at the same time I will be going to also read my 16th bit of my instruction register, that is nothing but your 15th data bit, that is IR of 15, whether that is equal to 0 or 1. If it is 0 means I need to perform the memory reference instruction. If it is 1 means register reference instruction. If it is 0 means register reference instruction. If it is 1 means input output instruction. Okay, those things we need to perform. So that is nothing but your fetching and decoding will be done. So how this will be done? If you see here, this is nothing but your common bus system. Okay, in this we have used 3 OR gates. For these 3 OR gates we have given the T0 T1 states. Okay, based upon this T0 T1 state, it will be going to activate S2 S1 S0 values. S2 S1 S0, based upon this combination, any one of the register will be activated in the common bus system. So according to our references, if I am going to see here, I am using this S0 S1 S2 values as 0 1 0. So based on that one, my memory, that is nothing but your S2 program counter will be activated. The program counter value will be moved to the address register. In the T1 state, what I will be doing, based upon this address register, your memory unit will be activated. Memory unit will be, from the memory unit will be taking the data value. Okay, that data value and the decoder circuit value will be going to decode it and will be going to perform the operation. So this is loading and storing operation. Next we will be going, how we will be going to determine the type of instruction. First, at the start, the counter sequence counter value will be 0. Next, your sequence counter value will be incremented by 1. When it is incremented by 1, you will be getting into the T0 state. T0 state, program counter value will be moved to the address register. In the T1 state, your program counter value will be incremented and the memory address value will be moved to the instruction register. Later, in the T2 state, what we will be doing, we will be going to decode the opcode value and we will be going to move the address of my data into the address register and we will be going to check the 15th bit of my instruction register whether I need to perform the memory reference or register references of operation. So we'll be going to see that whether this decoder is been activated to D7 bit or not. If the D7 is been, if the D7 bit is not activated, then it is nothing but I am performing the memory reference instructions. In this memory reference instruction, I will be seeing the I value whether it is 0 or 1. If it is 0 means it is a direct addressing. If it is 1 means it is an indirect addressing. So indirect addressing means I need to do as whatever the address is there in the address register, that is if one more of memory address register, so it will go to the that memory address. Again it will take the data and that will move to the address register. Okay, if it is I is equal to 0, it performs a direct memory operation, so nothing will be going to perform directly. It will be going to execute the memory reference instruction and your counter value will be decremented, will be cleared to 0. Okay, this will be finishes your T4 states. When T4 state is finished, I need to again jump to the T0 state. That is program counter value will be moved to the AR register. Now, let us talk about D7 bit. If D7 bit is 1, that is nothing but your, those three values are nothing but your 1, 1, 1. If these three values are 1, 1, 1, I need to check whether my I value is 0 or 1. If it is I value is 0, then we need to perform the register reference instructions. If it is I equal to 1, I need to perform it on the input and output operations. Okay, so I execute the difference instruction if I is equal to 0 and your counter value will be cleared to 0, then it jumps to the T0 state. So okay, if I is equal to 1, I need to execute the input and output instruction and I am going to clear the counter value. Then I will be going to jump to the T0 state. Okay, if you see here, when my D7 bit is 1, then I am going to get only T0 to T3 states only. If suppose if my D7 bit is 0, then I will be going to get one extra T state, that is T4, T0 to T4. The same thing has been explained over here. Now what are the register reference instructions we'll be going to see. Okay, this register reference instructions we will be going to identify based upon my D7 bit and I value. If D7 is equal to 1 and I is equal to 0, then what happens, it is a register reference instruction. So the values, the data values will be there in the bit number 0 to bit number 11, that is 12 bits will be there for your register values. Okay, next execution starts with the timing cycles T3. So that is nothing but with T3 states only we will be going to start with our execution. Okay, so now based upon my bits R0, that is what you have 0 to 11, the data values, that is 12 bits. Based upon those 12 bits, we will be going to perform these operations. based upon, suppose if you based upon R bit 11, okay, what you are going to perform, clear operation, clear the accumulator. If R bit is equal to 10, then I'll be going to do the E flag will be 0. Okay, if it is 9, then you will be going to do the complement of your accumulator. Okay, so on you are going to perform all the operations based upon my values from I, that is 0 to 11 bits. Okay, next comes your memory reference instruction. Memory reference instructions are nothing but you will be going to have from D0 to D6 bits only. I will not be considering my D7 bit. So D0 to D6 bit means that what your D0, D1, D2, D3, D4, D5, D6. For this one, what are my instructions I am having? AND operation, when D0 is activated, add, load the accumulator, store the accumulator. Okay, bunch, bun is nothing but your branch unconditionally. Okay, next one is nothing but your branch shift the accumulator contents. Next, increment shift the 0 and in and decrement it to 0. Okay, that is nothing but a these are nothing but a memory reference instructions. So let us come with your first memory reference instruction, which is nothing but your AND instruction. Okay, now if you are going to see here, as I have told you clearly that when you go with a memory reference instruction, we will be using a T0 to T4 states. Whereas in the register reference and IO reference instruction, we'll be using only the we'll be using only the T0 to T3 states. Okay, now let us come with the first D0 bit AND operation. So when I am going to do the AND operation, I need to perform the AND operation to the with respect to the accumulator. So what happens, your D0 and T4 state will be under the read operand. My address will be loaded into the data register. So whatever the address register will be having, that address register value, that address, it goes to that address in the memory. Whatever the data is there, that will be moved to the data register. Once the data is there in the data register, next state I will be going to perform the AND operation and I am going to clear my counter to 0. Same thing we will be doing for your add to the accumulator is nothing but your, in this the data register value will be added to the accumulator and the result will be stored in the accumulator, and there will maybe chances of getting a carry over there. That carry will be loaded into the E register, which is nothing but your E flag bit, and the counter will be decremented to 0. Same thing when you go with and load the accumulator is nothing but your data register value will be moved to the accumulator and the sequence counter value will be set to 0. Store the accumulator contents is nothing but I will be storing the accumulator contents into the address register specified. I don't require here data register. Why? Because I don't require data. Data is already there in the accumulator. That data I need to move it into the memory. So I'll be using only the accumulator moved to the M of AR, that is nothing but your address register will be having its address. Go to that memory location and store the data. Okay, branch unconditionally means what happens here, without any condition we are going to branch it, whereas branch and save the return address. Increment and skip if 0. What happens in increment and skip if 0? Memory address value move to the data will be moved to the data register value will be incremented by 1, then that value will be moved into the address register from where we have got that value, that the same value will be stored. Increment and storage, the same thing, it has been given in the flowchart format. Same thing, whatever the steps are there here written, the same steps have been specified as T4, T5, T4, T5 states as a flowchart. It's not required that much. Okay. In the next class, we'll be going to see that IO register reference instructions and interrupt cycle. Okay. By that, we will be finishing with our first part of our second unit, that is nothing but your hardwired control unit part. Then the next important part of your second unit is nothing but your microprogrammed control unit. That we will be going to see it in the coming classes. For today, we will winding up our session by your memory reference instruction. Thank you.